All right. Hey guys, thanks for joining. We're just waiting for some folks to get logged in here while we're getting fired up. Let's see, where's everybody at? There we go. Hey, thanks for joining me. Tim Richardson here. And if you're thinking about buying an RV, you are in the right place. 5 big buying mistakes that you can avoid. We're going to dive into those in just a second. Give everybody time to get logged in here. Find the chat area. We're going to have you ask your questions in the chat area. So check that out. Go ahead and actually put in what city that you guys are watching from, listening from. I'd love to give some shout outs while we wait for everybody to get in here. And I'll be bringing in an expert to help us as well. So for those just entering, my name is Tim Richardson. I'm actually doing this live from Cleveland, Ohio. So we're going to record the whole thing, so don't worry about taking notes if you can't write fast enough. We're going to fly through a number of things, but we will send you a replay about 2 hours after this webinar is over. You'll get an email with a link to a replay. So that'll be coming your way. Greetings. Man, we got people from all over the place. Melina in Waco, Texas. Nice and warm down there. Rhonda in Atlanta. Hey. Hi, Mark in Atlanta as well. Flora in Maryland. We have Farron in Fort Worth. Jeff in Hilton Head. Hey. And Darlene in Missouri. Nan in Gardnerville, Nevada. Greetings, Nan and Rhonda. Go Bucks. Nice. Thank you. We'll talk about why that's on there. Hi there from Texas, Angeles. Melina. All right. Awesome. Thank you guys for taking time. We're going to dive right in. 5 big buying mistakes you can avoid. First one. Actually, let's see. Oh, goodness. You weren't supposed to see that slide. That's my first camping trip. And this is why I do this, because I have a special place in my heart for RVs. This is my very first RV I got to ride in. My dad actually built this thing. So we lived up in British Columbia, Canada, and went up to vacation in Boot Lake. One way in and one way out. And wouldn't you know, there was this huge tree right there that fell across the road. So we had to do a little camping one night while we waited for the forestry service to come. And so we built this little lean-to you see in the picture there. And I remember sleeping under there at about 2 or 3 in the morning or something. I remember waking up my mom like, I just want to sleep in the RV. So we slept in the RV. My brother stayed out there. The next morning, they're walking around the campsite. They find huge bear prints. That's why I like to say, like, RVs saved my life. So we're going to have some fun today. But let's dive into not asking for the out-the-door price. So that's our first big buying mistake a lot of people make, is they don't ask for this out-the-door price. And especially when you're trying to shop around different dealerships, and you really want to make sure that you're comparing apples to apples. But you can't do that if you don't know what the out-the-door price is. And we'll talk more about that here in a little bit, how important the kind of locking down that price is. But what happens is there's kind of a phased in process. So you pick out your RV, you get pricing, you get a quote or a sales agreement, you make a deposit, and then some time elapses before they clean it, inspect it, and get it ready for you to pick up for you to enjoy. And so you come back, it's pickup day, your family's there, you've got the camping trip scheduled for the next day or the next weekend, and your family's excited to be camping, and then they sit down, walk through the RV, then they sit down with the paperwork, and you start going through your contract, your sales agreement, and your final paperwork to sign for the financing and all the different things that go into buying an RV. And you start realizing, like, so what's this fee? Why is this bottom number different than what I expected? And so that, folks, is what I'm here to help you guys with, figuring out how to make sure there's no surprises at the end. So we're going to dive into that. And let me just write up on the board here, hidden fees, and we'll start talking about some of these. The reason I like to do these webinars, the guys, founders of RV Wholesalers, asked me, they're like, Tim, obviously we can't sell RVs to everybody. There's going to be 500,000-600,000 RVs sold, and we can only sell just a little piece of that. So let's not make this about sales. Let's make this about equipping and educating folks like yourself, and just get the word out, because it really is pretty sad what we're seeing out there. And we're going to have some folks join us probably here in a little bit that can attest to some of the from the frontline stories that are happening that they're seeing with prices, and it gets a little crazy. So the first hidden fee that I want to talk about is actually, I'm going to see this picture here, this hidden fees. It's a one-page PDF. I'm going to put this up for you guys. So look in the chat area. There will be a file showing up. You can download this anytime you get a second. Download this file. This is a one-page PDF. That way you don't have to write all this stuff down. But the first hidden fee I want to talk about is number one, the PDI, pre-delivery inspection. So we see this showing up a lot, and especially, well, because one big dealership or a group of dealerships it has hundreds of stores across the country. This one is one that you'll see in there. And what is PDI, pre-delivery inspection? So this is definitely something you want to have done to your RV before you buy it. It's basically, it's manufactured in Elkhart, Indiana. It's kind of the hub of all RV manufacturing, that whole area, Goshen and Elkhart and South Bend, that whole area up there is where almost all RVs are made. And when the factory, when it comes off the line, they do all their quality control checks that you would expect from a manufacturer, which I think actually quality is going up. Some people are like, man, it's gotta be bad. They're just making so many RVs right now. Actually, I've been to the factories probably 6-7 times in the last 5 months. And what I'm seeing is they're actually focused longer on one particular model. Before, they were just every 2 hours they'd switch a floor plan. And, it was just like, how do they keep this all straight? I don't know, but they're doing great now, I think, on that side of it. It's like very consistent. But what's happening is after that leaves the factory, that RV will come to your local dealer or wherever your dealership is that you're working with. And then when you go to buy it and you go to pick it up, before you pick it up, it's the responsibility of that dealership to go through the coach, do this PDI, pre-delivery inspection. And it's more than just taking a look at things. It's like going up on top with a hose and making sure like water doesn't run through the vents or through the AC. Everything's bolted down, sealed properly. It's turning on the furnace for 15 minutes and letting it burn off all the oil. And it's checking the plumbing, flushing the toilets, and just everything like that. So it's a really good inspection. You're definitely going to want to make sure that is happening on your RV. But what you don't want to happen is get to the bottom of the paperwork, last day, time to pick up, $1,600 pre-delivery inspection. It's like, well, that would have been nice to know when I was price shopping, because if you're finding a dealership that's $1,600 less, but that's included and that's a free thing, what are you going to do? I mean, so that's why I want you to, and some of these fees we're going to talk about are legitimate. That one, I don't know. I think that one's a little bit shady, just because the factory is paying the dealership to do this inspection. I mean, it's kind of their run it across the road after it's manufactured, road test, get it to the dealership, have them do one last check after all the first time bumping across a bounty road, and make sure the trim is still attached and all that kind of stuff. So they actually pay the dealership warranty dollars to do this. So I don't think it should be passed on to you as an expense, but that's just my opinion. Some dealers it is, but just make sure you know up front. And so with all these hidden fees, what I want you guys to do is make sure that, don't be afraid to ask for this stuff in writing. Like, what is included? You should get a sales agreement that spells out exactly what these fees are. And so don't be afraid to ask for that. That's what I'm saying. If you get nothing else, make sure you know what your bottom out the door price is after taxes and so forth. Number 2 is a transportation fee. That's another hidden fee that we see sometimes. Like I said, they're all manufactured in Elkhart, so they have to get to the dealership. And it's not like cars where they can just load 12 of them onto a carrier and get them out there. They pretty much go one by one. And so there's fee involved. So if you're buying from a dealer like RV Wholesalers, that's only, just an hour and a half away from the manufacturer, then that fee is small. That transportation fee is going to be small. If you're in Florida, that's going to be a little bit larger. But you should be able to see what that fee is and know. And you kind of calculate based on how many miles away from Elkhart you are. And you can kind of judge by that. So the transportation fee is always going to happen. So whether they put it in the price or they separate it out, there's always going to be a transportation fee because that vehicle has to get to your state at some point. So be expecting that, but make sure you know if that is. And another little tidbit, you shouldn't have to pay sales tax on the transportation fee. So make sure it's broken out, at least in your final paperwork. So there's no sense paying sales tax. So I'm bringing in a expert here, Mitch. Hey, Mitch. Can you hear me?
Good. Hey, can you guys hear me?
This guy. Yeah, that's great. I just started on the hidden fees. We talked about asking for out-the-door price, PDI, and then we just hit transportation. We're just kind of wrapping up the hidden fees side of things. But Mitch probably has some stories, and I want to have him actually talk about price protection because this has been a big issue I'm sure you're seeing, and he's probably got some stories from this week. Mitch works with RV Wholesalers and has been there many years. Has a great family that loves camping and has helped so many people. Like this guy has probably seen it all, like that farmer's commercial, seen a thing or two, So Mitch, jump right in and talk to us. Why don't you talk about price protection? Because that's a huge thing that I've just been seeing coming up, and I want to kind of get your input on it.
Yeah, I mean that's one big thing that's huge with us is what everybody's doing right now. A nobody really has much inventory. B so if they do have inventory, what's happening is they're gouging everybody on the price, supply and demand. So everybody's pretty much having to order. When ordering, most of these units are going to be 2022s. One thing we're doing is we're price protecting customers when placing the order. You're price protected. And I don't know of a dealer in the country. I've been speaking to a lot of different manufacturers, a lot of different reps, and they don't know of a dealer out there that's price protected. And what's that mean? Basically, What they're doing is they're placing the order, but on your paperwork, they're putting, if there's a price increase, which there will be, there's going to be multiple price increase. We've seen 6 in probably the last 45 days, 6 price increases.
Jeez. Oh my gosh.
So what we're doing is we're price protecting. You're locked in. All the other dealers are saying they're putting a caveat on there that if there's a price increase, you're going to pay the difference in that money. I just looked at one yesterday on a couple of different brands, and since they've ordered their trailer till it's came in, it's been $3,000 to $4,000 difference in money, and that's fact. So, yes, how are we doing that? Well, so some of these deals we're losing on, but that's the only right way of doing business, right?
Right, because you're signing
money and kickbacks.
Yeah, because you're signing a contract like I'm going to pay this much for this vehicle, and man, that's frustrating when you get to the end and all of a sudden they want you to pay more because the factory charged more to them. So, wow.
Yeah, I didn't get everything you just said there, Tim, because I lost you a little bit. So say that one more time. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's just frustrating. It's like, as a customer, I see the price, I agree to buy it, we sign a sales agreement, I give you a deposit. It should be the responsibility that I get that vehicle for that price, no matter what happens on the back end. Like, as a customer, I shouldn't have to care about the factory charging the dealership more. But man, so you're saying really look at the fine print, right? In the back of that contract to say, whether that's locked in, the price is locked in. Because what's the clause look like that they're starting to show up in these dealerships?
Yeah, well, what I seen one yesterday, and basically what it said is, if there is a manufacturer price increase from now to when your unit comes offline, you take possession, you will be required to pay the difference in that money. Well, my question is, I think there's two things that's happening. Yes, there's going to be price increases, but two, dealers are going to take advantage of this. How can they prove that there was a price increase, right?
And how do you prove how much it was? Like, what if they say it was $1,700 and it was $600?
So that's just another way of getting in a lot of, there's going to be price increases, but I think this is another angle that our dealers are going to use to take advantage of people and say, well, it was this amount of money. So you either pay it or, you don't get your deal. So, and that's why we're doing it the way we're doing it. It's the upfront way of doing it. It's the honest way of doing it. It's a Christian way of doing it. So that's how we do business. Some, like I said, some of these deals from earlier this year, there's going to be a couple that they lose money or break even on, but I think they're doing the right thing for the customer, and that's what we do. So you win some, you lose some, but at the end of the day, if the customer's happy, they're going to send us more business, and that's the relationship we want with them.
Yeah. Wow. Thanks for sharing that. Hey, Mitch, I know you only have a few minutes with us. How much time before you have to leave? Do you have to leave right at 2:00?
Well, yeah. 2:00's fine. I got some time.
I can cover some stuff. We can bounce around, and I can come back to some of these things. So I just wanted to really help folks and tap into your expertise. And folks, drop questions in the chat. Now's the time to ask questions. If it's something that we don't have time to answer, it's not going to be helpful for multiple people, then we'll email you back or give you a call. So Flora just asked, Mitch, what dealer are you with? So RV Wholesalers is located where? Yeah, you can tell. Mitch.
Yeah, RV Wholesalers. We're located in Lakeview, Ohio. We've been in business for over 20 years now. I've been here 16 and a half years. We sell all over the country. So wherever you're located at, obviously you can come pick up here, or we have delivery available. So yeah, feel free to call me. My direct phone number is 937-843-4380, and that'll reach me directly. I'll help you out and go through the whole process with you and help you find something that works best for your needs.
843. What was the last part? Okay.
Yeah, 4380.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's dive in. There was one, Harry Holt said he's from Chardon, Ohio. I'm like 5 minutes from you. I'm in Gates Mills, Ohio, so that's cool. Thank you guys for joining us. Very good. So let's finish up the hidden fees piece, and then we'll dive into, I want to help them understand the whole RV terms and financing and that whole piece. That's an interesting piece. So the last hidden fee, we talked about transportation, environmental fees, dock and title, tire replacement. These are just some weird fees that are popping up. The dock and title is one that you're going to see across the board. Every dealership, every state, it's going to be a little bit different based on the state, but it shouldn't be much. It's a few $100s. But Mitch, what's kind of a crazy fee that you've seen pop up that just like, how do they get away with putting fees like this in there? So just give me one from the last few weeks that you've seen pop up that
basically, so we have two fees. We have a $295 dock and title, so basically $300 dock and title fee, and we have $360 factory freight. That's freight from the manufacturer to the dealership. Every dealership is pretty much going to have that. Now, there are a lot of dealerships that are going to fluctuate those numbers. Okay, they're going to they're going to be quite a bit higher than that. A big fee is prep fee. That's prepping the unit. So when
you talked about that one, yeah.
Yeah, so that's one of the major fees. There are fees everywhere. A training fee. To teach you how to use the unit.
Okay, so like a walkthrough training kind of thing. Actually, I heard there was a couple that was there not too long ago. They're picking up, and they said it was like $1,200 or something for a walkthrough fee, which is, or sometimes they'll package up the power the power cord and pretend like they're selling you like the starter kit for I don't know, an extra $800. You want the starter kit, comes with the power cord and everything, which is already comes from the factory. It's terrible. I should be laughing but it's pretty sad how that people find ways to get extra money on these things. But it's not hidden fees, right? If you know about them. So, and that's the key. Make sure you know about exactly what they're going to be. And would you advise if they ask for it in writing, you just say, hey, if this fee changes, I get my deposit back or something like that? I mean, can you do that?
Yeah, I mean, I would always recommend that. If the pricing changes, I mean, that's not what you agreed upon. Right. So, unfortunately, that's how most of the business is. I mean, they're gonna change pricing on you, and they're gonna add other fees and stuff. So, when we do a deal, what we do is everything's in writing. So you're signing off on the exact price, exact options, and it's up and up. There's no, I told you what our fees are. When I give a price, I include that. I tell them, hey, this is where you're at with these fees. And depending on states, some states, in Ohio, obviously we got to collect tax. There's a few other states out there that we got to collect tax. A lot of states we don't collect tax, but you don't pay Ohio tax and then your own tax. You'll just pay your state tax when you register at the DMV in your state. So you're not getting taxed twice.
It's your state of residence is basically where you would pay your sales tax.
Correct. Yep. That's where you're.
So where your main home is. That's where. Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
I'm gonna skip through this number 2. I'll come back to that after Mitch has to leave. But number 3, not understanding terms on RV financing. I know this is a big area that people need to learn about. So could you explain a little bit about how RV financing works, and then after that, I have this. At whatever point you want to talk about this, not knowing the big dealer financing secret. I want to pop that up because I think this will save those guys thousands of dollars, and I'm excited to have you share that. So go ahead.
On financing wise, we use all major banks, right? So that we can get you the most competitive rates, terms, payments, and everything else. So what we do is which I think goes into your next question as well, is your terms. RV terms are going to be set from, typically are going to be like a 10, 12, 15, 20-year term, and that all depends on dollar value. So like from 10,000 to 14.9, you're at a 10-year term. For 15,000 to 24.9, you're at a 12-year term, and then 25,000 to 49.9, you're at a 15-year term. So you're going 10-year, 12-year, 15-year, and then over 50,000, then you can get up into 20-year terms. Now, you get a lot of people say, well, I don't want to take a term that long. Well, the nice thing on all the banks that we use, it's a simple interest loan. So with this being a simple interest loan, you always take your longest term possible to get your better rate. And then if you want to pay it off in 5 years, 3 years, whatever you want to do, let's set that payment there. Now, everything you pay above and beyond your normal payment goes directly to the principal. So you may have a rate that's 6%. Well, if you pay it off in half the time, now you're 3%, 2% as it goes down, just like a car.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So like if I go to my local credit union and they say, well, I'll give you a 5-year for 3% or 4% or whatever, it's probably not even that low, but when you really look at it and you take a longer one and you pay it off in the same amount of time, you're actually going to be further ahead, aren't you?
Yeah, your effective interest rate is going to be, less than what it was with the credit union. So, and that's normal. I mean, then most people are not going to know that, but that's what we're here for. And then coming into the next question that you had, if you don't mind, if we go to there next.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah.
With us, when you finance with us, and when I say with us, we're still using a major bank. It's not just it's not in-house financing or anything like that. We get reserve money from the bank for sending them the business, and we take that and give that to you in a discount. So now that comes above your tax line.
Yeah. That's pretty crazy. I had no idea this was happening. Like, I didn't realize the banks. So if whoever finances through one of these banks, the bank gives money back to you guys as like a little commission. What do you call it? A dealer reserve or something?
Yeah, it's a kickback. Yeah, it's a kickback. So
a kickback. Yeah.
So
man,
every car dealer, every RV dealer, anytime you went in to do a loan, you typically will do it through the dealership because they got the best rates and terms. Well, no, you don't ever really see dealers that are saying, well, I'll give you a discount for financing with us. And that's because they're getting money on the backside. They don't want you to know that. So that's what we're doing. We're doing that to get the price down more for you. We're rewarding you for financing with us for a couple reasons. It's going to make things smooth. When you finance through the dealership, now I don't have to worry about you not having the right check, not having the right down money. It just makes the process way easier for the customer in the end, and makes the process smooth. You come in, we take care of the paperwork. You don't have to run back and forth with your bank and miss more work and stuff like that. So that's why we started doing it like that. Say, hey, let's just utilize that back end money to get their price down more, to make it the experience better in general for the customer when purchasing from us was the big goal there.
Yeah, I had no idea until I started talking to you guys that was happening on the back end with banks. I mean, like you said, that works for cars. So if you go into a car dealership and you're buying a car, after all your price negotiation happens, you can say, hey, so if I finance with you, how much of that finance dealer reserve can you give me back? Ask that question.
Right.
But because I mean, so like in an RV, give me some numbers. Like, is it just a few $100, or like say I buy a $50,000 RV? How much are we talking about here?
Well, I mean, and it depends on different brands and everything. I mean, there's you're going to have discounts from $2,000, $2,500, $3,000. Motorhomes are $6,000 to $8,000. So, it just depends on each line and, what banks and stuff. But I mean, it's a minimum of $2,000. Okay.
Wow.
And then a maximum up to $10,000 on the bigger Class A's.
Yeah. So a lot of money's coming back to the bank. And basically the stipulation is you have to have a loan open with 12 months in your cases with a lot of the banks you work with for the most part.
Yeah, so like a cash buyer, like I noticed, is it better to pay cash or to finance? Well, what a cash buyer will always do with us is they'll come in and they'll finance the unit to get the discount, because all you have to do is leave your payment open for 12 months. So for easy numbers, let's take 100 times 12 is $1,200, right?
Yeah.
So whatever your payment is times 12, on your first payment, when you come in, you're going to pay everything off except for those 12 payments. Well, since it's a simple interest loan, that goes directly to the principal loan. So now you spend $120, $150 in interest to save $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, whatever it is. So that's a way around it for a cash buyer. I get that question quite a bit, so we can work both angles for you. So.
Yeah, and even at that point, you could switch it back into a credit union if you were like totally, whatever. But it gives you options. It's basically you're committing to at least a year to get that. I remember when the owners first, I remember hearing them talk about the first time they got a check back from the banks. Like, oh, well, what is this? Like, we've already made our profit, we've paid our bills, and then all of a sudden this reserve money comes back from the bank, and they're just like, well, we weren't counting on that. Let's give it back to the customer. So I think that's a cool idea that you guys have going on there. So yeah, thanks for sharing that. I think this is new for a lot of people. So very good. Let's answer a couple more questions. Let's see. Do you need to worry about price protection on a used RV? Used is a crazy market right now, but go ahead.
Well, you shouldn't have to worry about price protection on a used RV because it's already in stock. Right, so there's nothing for the price to be changed from, because there's no price increase. It's already been built. Okay, does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So
Melina asks too: is it better to buy an RV from a private person rather than from a dealership? So this market is really crazy right now, where the prices even. Just talked to a lady that came in all the way from the state of Washington to buy another Rockwood. She had her other one for 5 years, drove it to Alaska, tried to beat it up. It never failed her. And she sold it for more than she paid for it 5 years ago. Like, that's how much these used ones are going for. Like, you can buy brand new. It's like, oh my word.
Well, and that's the deal. That's how good the market is right now. And like in her situation is like you're being all the way out on the West Coast. I mean, our pricing is so much lower than what the dealers are selling at MSRP out there that you're not going to get hurt. When you decide to change down the road, you didn't overpay by thousands like most people out there. So now you're financially you're able to get into another unit, and that's another reason why we do our pricing the way we do is we want to sell you 2, 3, 4 RVs over the period that you're RVing. You can't do that if you're making MSRP on somebody because now they're so upside down in it that financially most people aren't going to do it, and the people, there's going to be some people that do it, but they got taken advantage of. So,
yeah, good point. Jackie asked, can you refuse the fee if it doesn't make sense? So if a hidden fee pops up, and can you refuse it? Well, it usually happens at the end. Like you really don't, if you don't ask the questions that we were just talking about, it happens at the end and they make you feel guilty. It's like, don't they, Mitch? Like they're just like, you're already, I mean, you waited, say, months for this RV, you're picking it up. And at that point, what are you going to do? Walk away from it? So they kind of have you in a tough place because, you're ready for it. They've got other people on a list that will take it. If you say no and you walk, they don't care because there's 5 other people that are wanting that RV that day. Right. So, I mean, it's a tough one. And that's what we're hearing too. Is like people are just like, well, we just kind of had to bite the bullet and pay the extra few $1,000 and learn from it. But yeah, if you get a dealership like that, I mean, that's where you're kind of voting with your dollars. Like that's when, if you see that kind of stuff happening, then you probably don't want them down the road taking, you want someone you can count on to take care of you, like you said, that for the life of this RV and the next one. So
sure.
If I live in California, Terry asked, and purchase from you, I then have to pay DMV and taxes when I return home? ?
Okay, so California is one of the 6 states. This is how it'll work. Okay. So you're paying, Ohio has to collect 6% for the state of California, okay? And then when you register at your DMV, so I know California is higher than 6%. So whatever the difference is, so let's say it's 8%. When you register at the DMV, you're going to pay that 2% difference. So you're still saying the same exact tax, except for we have to collect partial of that tax, 6% of that tax up front to send to the state, and then you'll pay that difference when you register. And yes, that's when you'll pay for your plates and registration. We'll provide you with a 45-day temp tag so that you're legal to use it while you're waiting for that paperwork you need to go down to the DMV and get your plates and pay that difference in tax.
Yeah, thanks. And what about Rhonda says, if my son is living in Oregon, buys from you, would he have to pick it up in Ohio or can it be shipped out to him? Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, I've got it both ways. I mean, some customers, they'll come out to us, make a trip out of it, save some extra money that way. But we do have delivery companies we use that we could set up for you, and we can deliver it to you. And we would just have to figure out what the difference in cost would be and pay the driver to come and bring it all the way out to you. So, yeah, absolutely, we can accommodate both ways on that side of things.
Tuesday, I did the same webinar, and David was one of the co-presenters, and someone typed in the chat, he's like, I saved $12,320 or something like that, some number, but 12,000 something, and by coming out and picking it up from you guys, not that over his local dealer. I mean, obviously it was only a few thousand for the delivery part of it, but yeah, he's saved a lot of money, so it's pretty cool. What are the other 6 states? You had California.
So it's California.
You remember the others?
Yeah, California, Arizona, Florida, Massachusetts. South Carolina has a sales cap of $500, so that's a little bit different than the other ones. And then,
come on, you can do it.
Did I say Massachusetts already?
I think so. Just say it again. Massachusetts, good job. Shoot us an email. Shoot Mitch an email, and we can find out if it's your state or not. So, good job. Yeah. That's pretty impressive. I don't know if I'd even get that many.
Well, all I got to do is click a button on my purchase order, and it shows me the 6 states. So
Okay.
I know I've got at least 5 of them correct there. But yeah, just shoot me an email, and I'll or call me, and I can verify. But either way, it's still the same thing. You're still going to pay the same exact tax in your state. This is just a couple of them where we have to collect some of it up front, with the other ones you're going to pay for that when you register. So either way, you're paying for it when you register. That difference in money or the full tax.
Hey, Sherry says Arizona. We didn't say that one, did we?
Yep, Arizona's one of them.
She wins the prize. Nice. Good job. Thanks, Sherry. We'll have you on as one of our co-presenters for the next webinar. So Rhonda asked, what's a ballpark? Like, what would you expect for a medium-sized travel trailer to go to Oregon? I mean, that's kind of a big question, and based on the time of day and which shipping company you can use. But
yeah, I mean, the most I've seen is up around 4,000, and then I've seen some come in that are around, 2,000, 2,500 bucks. So I would say, range it from 2,500 to 4,000 bucks. And then what that determines on is how big the unit is, and then what's the fuel market when you're getting ready to take possession too. So because that obviously gas price and diesel price determines some of that as well.
Yeah, and so no matter where you buy it, so if you bought that same trailer in Oregon, that dealer would have to mark up that price by 4,000 to sell that trailer in Oregon. I mean, so that is happening whether you're buying it right by the factory at a dealership like RV Wholesalers, or it's happening in Oregon. It's just making sure you know what that price is, and then if you want to make a trip like the group, the couple from Washington, I mean, kind of turn it into a little vacation and save yourself $4,000 or $2,000, whatever. So, lots of different ways to do it, or fly in if it's a motorhome or whatever. So, sure,
absolutely.
Good questions, guys. Thanks. This is great. I know, Mitch, you need to get going, but I appreciate your time. Very good job answering all these questions. I'll hit a couple of things. I want to show a little video from our owner of RV Wholesalers, David, just talking about service. So I appreciate it, and we'll put up your information. If you want to have Austin put up your contact information one more time, and if you have more questions that I can't answer, we'll definitely want to shoot these over to Mitch, and here's his contact information, or you can scroll back down through the chat, you'll see it. So
thank you,
right there. So, appreciate it, Mitch. Thanks for your time today. Very helpful.
Yep, my pleasure. Have a good day.
All right. Yeah, you take care. Thanks.
See you. Bye.
So, folks, I had skipped over one question on the. Let's back up here. It was number 2, and this is a question. Some of you, about 35% of you, this isn't your first RV, so not getting the most for your trade-in. So here's a little tip for you guys, help you out. So right now, the way the market is, I would just sell this thing outright. Like the dealers aren't going to be able to give you nearly as much as you can get right now in the market. So the best thing to do, just list it on Facebook Marketplace. And we're seeing people come multiple states away sometimes. So don't only list it right by your local area. If you can think bigger and spread it out a little bit. So that's a good way to, if you don't mind taking a few pictures, that's really all it takes, and just get that thing listed. Find someone that can help you if you're not comfortable with listing it like that. But man, people are crazy buying these things and fast too. So it's not going to last long. If you take it to a dealership like RV Wholesalers, they can only view, book price, the low book price, like the low book price and things, because they have to pay commission for someone to sell it. And then they have to, do their inspections and, different things. So they're not going to be able to give you nearly as much as you can get just selling it outright. So Facebook Marketplace, RV Trader is another one. You can list it there. It's a small fee for that, but it's a national listing service. And then Craigslist, you have to be careful with that. But those are options. I would definitely do it that way. So check that out. And So we covered not understanding terms, financing, got the big dealer's secret, which is, man, I know that's worth a lot of money right there. And not checking out service and wait times. This is a big deal. Finding a dealership that's going to take care of you and make you a priority. And I know some of the questions is, how for example, RV wholesalers, like how do we, if I buy, I'm in Oregon, I buy an RV from Ohio, from RV wholesalers, how would I get service out there? So I'm going to answer that question when I come back. And I'm going to have David Durnell, one of the owners of RV Wholesalers, one of the founders, just chat, because I've been real impressed with him. He took his office and he moved it up into the this little loft. It doesn't have any windows or anything. It's pretty pathetic, actually. But he's up there with a whole team of warranty and service folks that hear all the questions coming in, and he just really wanted to get a handle on things. And so he moved up there, and the last 2 years, he's just been sitting up there so he really knows that the customers are being taken care of. And so I've been impressed with that. I want to show you this little video I shot of him the other day talking about service. So,
hey guys, glad to help. I've kind of been serving people or helping people my entire life. It's kind of how we were raised, I guess you could say, to put other people first, take care of other people. So when we started the dealership, it was sort of a natural for me, especially if you look at my teaching background. I taught for 10 years. I've always enjoyed teaching people new things. I've always enjoyed helping people, both professionally, personally, etc. Taking care of kids and stuff was such a joy, such a pleasure. So when Mike and I opened up this dealership, it just kind of sort of wasn't even a choice. We're going to focus on the people that we sell to. We're going to take care of them. We're going to treat them like family. And again, that's just how we were raised. I remember we'd been selling for a few years, and we had the idea of putting a used unit on eBay, and it did really well. We put another one, and long story short, through the winter months, we had sold all of our used units. And in the spring, we thought, what wonder if people would buy a new unit? So we put a new unit on eBay, and a crazy thing happened. A guy from Iowa bought it. Put another one up. A guy from Texas bought it, and we thought, man, we've stumbled onto something here. And I never will forget, my dad came in to check on us, see how we were doing, just to visit. And we were telling him how great this thing was. Right, we're going to be able to sell RVs all across the U.S. It appears through eBay. And I'll never forget, he just kind of looked at us and he said, you guys started selling because of service, right? You did service first? Yeah, of course, Dad. So service most important thing? Yeah. Well, how are you going to service people that aren't even in your state? And it was kind of a low moment, it sort of like sucked the wind out of us. And we kind of regrouped for a couple of days and thought about it, even prayed about it. And then the idea popped in our head, hey, what if we found someone in each person's hometown to take care of them? And fast forward 23 years later, that's our nationwide service network. And now we're able to sell to people all across the U.S., all across Canada, and take care of every single one of them. And I think one of the things we're most proud of is that we've never had a customer not get serviced anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. We've always been able to find someone to take care of them, and someone to meet their needs, and
yeah, that was David. Thank you, David. That was good. And so, yeah, just kind of follow up and finish up on how they do that nationwide service, because that was one of the questions that Terry asked. If I purchased from you, how do we get the warranty work? So that's what he was explaining is they created this nationwide service network. So this network has, it's almost 2,930 or something last I checked, service centers, and some of them are mobile repair places. They vet and have a relationship with these because of the 20 some years that they've been doing this, 21 I think since that first one on eBay. And so they've built this huge collection of folks that they have a relationship with, and they do things like they pay these folks with their credit cards when it's warranty work, so you're not having to pay with your money and then trying to get money back from the factory, which is like a nightmare to get warranty dollars back from the factory. So they're used to having to really fight hard for the factory to pay them. So they take care of that and take that pressure off of you. So that's kind of how they do it. So you would call the concierge, service concierge, and if you're in California, you'd say, hey, I'm at this location. And that's the thing with camping. It's like the thing never breaks like in your yard. So it's not like it's going to break near your local dealership. It's out when you're like 2 states away on vacation. At least I'd never go vacationing like right in my area near my local dealership. So, I mean, that's kind of what is that? The law, Murphy's Law, says it's going to break when you're using it as far away as you can be from home. And so, say you're in California, you're vacationing up in Washington, and it breaks down, you would make one call to concierge, and they would find a service center near you there that will take care of you, or maybe even a mobile service center that will come out if it's, say, an air conditioner breaks and you're at a campground. And you don't want to have to unhook and do all this, and they can find someone that can possibly, come out and fix it right there on the spot. That's the kind of service that he's talking about, that they built this nationwide service network of, mobile and service centers. So very cool, very good stuff. So good question. Thanks for asking about that. That is a big part, and I'm glad they figured that one out. Let's see, any other questions? Oh, Deborah asked, do most RV dealers do non-refundable deposits? Man, sadly, yes. I'm pretty much guarantee that is pretty much the case. And everyone that I know, it's non-refundable. I have seen at least in RV Wholesalers, I had a friend that started to purchase a motorhome, but ended up finding something else faster and that he needed, and they gave him this $5,000 deposit back or whatever. But yeah, in writing, most of those say that it's non-refundable. So make sure you check that out. That's why I said, make sure you ask for this stuff in writing. Like, if this changes by $1, make sure there's not that little clause that they're hiding on page 2 of, if the factory gives us a price increase, we're going to pass it on to you, and that kind of stuff. So, so good question. John asks, is there a good reference for RV model reliability? That is, I don't think there is I actually want to create something like this. I'm kind of frustrated too. And I know the dealers that are like the owners of RV Wholesalers, they have a lot of times when they pick which brands they carry, it's based on this. And from their years of working, like David's up in the service department, so he knows like what's being worked. And so they'll drop lines for this reason. A lot of times they've said that when a big company, like a big publicly traded company or somebody will buy an RV manufacturer, and then there'll be a couple of years where they're just trying to get their profits back and kind of make things work and, create RVs for less, so higher profits, quality goes down. They've noticed that a number of years, so they won't even take lines that have just been acquired by big equity funds and publicly traded companies and things, sometimes just because of that reason. So yeah, there isn't, I would love to create a consumer report type of thing. Would be awesome. If you're just getting started, the one thing I did create, I haven't got that consumer report thing figured out yet, but the one thing I did create, if you're just trying to figure out how much can my car tow, I want a travel trailer, I did create a thing called towingcalculator.org. We're just testing it. So if you guys want to try it out, you can put in your information of like what year your truck is and the details, and it will spit out your towing capacity, because that's a big thing. You want to make sure you don't get too big of a trailer for your vehicle. So check that out. Let's see. How many manufacturers do you all represent? Does it cover the good, better, best manufacturing methods? So Yeah, Rhonda, there is probably 30 or 40 different lines I think RV Wholesalers has. I'm not actually on payroll at RV Wholesalers. They just asked me to help get the word out for them about, just help protect folks. But if you reach out to Mitch, he can do that, or go to rvwholesalers.com. You can see all the different ones that they carry. And in this world, there's a lot of interesting things in the manufacturing side. So a manufacturer may have two different names. So he may have a name for for that he sells the same exact unit for one like Camping World or something like that. And then he may have another name for it for smaller, like other types of dealerships in different areas. And, so really the key is finding the floor plan that really works for you. So figure out the type of RV. And I used to think RV was motorhome. So, but kind of figure out what type of RV. Do you want a motorhome class A, B, C? Do you want a travel trailer? And do you want that to be a toy hauler? Do you want it to be a park model? Do you want, like fifth wheel, those kind of things. So kind of just start there. If you're just getting into this, start there, then work your way down. And really figure out the floor plan first. That's more important. And then the other big question is, do I want it to have aluminum siding? Sometimes they've referred to that as like stick and tin, meaning it's wood framed with aluminum siding. Or do you want it to be fiberglass walls with aluminum instead of wood, like studs? They have aluminum studs. Actually, I'll show you real quick. We're getting into a lot of details, but this is what aluminum wall would look like with aluminum studs, with fiberglass on the outside of the RV, like Rockwoods. They kind of use this construction. It's actually from them. And then the foam is insulated in here. It's all sealed together. So that's a fiberglass wall. And then there's the roofs on that look like this. It's a little thicker, but anyways, the other one is just aluminum siding and wood, like more like a traditional house kind of built. So that's the two things. So yeah, there's pros and cons for both of those, and price is different. So kind of decide how you're going to use it, and that's kind of where you go from that. Last thing I wanted to talk about is this: buying a service agreement doesn't cover much. So that's that's kind of the last area, and we'll be done. But wanted to talk about service contracts. So that's kind of a big deal. It's like I never would buy any kind of service contract. Like check out at Walmart, you want to pay $15 to add the service contract. I was like, no, my dad taught me never do that. It's like a waste of money. So until I started RVing, been taking the family out a number of times, and I realized like that is a bumpy road. Like you're taking appliances down this bumpy road. You're taking, like all this stuff is happening, and I know that stuff's not going to make it 7 years, without some kind of incident that gets pretty expensive. So I would definitely consider service contracts. I don't make money on service contracts. I don't sell RVs, but from what I've seen, it's a good idea, a real good idea. And to make sure that you don't get taken advantage of in this area, really look for, there's two types of service contracts. So write these down. One is called the stated coverage, and one is called exclusionary. I'm going to tell you what those mean. So stated is the most common type that's sold out there. Stated coverage. It's price. Well, what we're seeing is you'll get a contract that it states exactly what's covered. So it'll be a list. You'll open it up, and there'll be this list of here's what's covered in your service agreement. Sounds great. But that list isn't super, super long. I mean, it may be 100 lines or whatever it is, but it'll have a lot of things listed. Say it says refrigerator. But what's the problem with stated, and if you can afford to go to the other kind, I would do that. But what the problem with stated is it's only covering those things. And where I've seen a lot of loopholes is, say the refrigerator goes bad because the power got messed up because of the inverter was bad, but it caused the refrigerator to burn out because the power wasn't right to the refrigerator. Now the refrigerator is not covered because the inverter wasn't covered, or things like that. So there's a lot of loopholes in that one. And what the other type is called exclusionary. So it's almost the flip-flop, the opposite. Everything that's listed is an exclusion. So basically everything is covered for service agreement that's called exclusionary, except excluding these items, excluding brake pads, things like that you would normally have to replace anyways. They'll be listed there. So you know exactly what's not covered. You will not get money if your brakes wear out because it's excluded. It's in the exclusionary contract. So that contract is the one that really pays the bill. I'd like to say it's when it's time, it's payday. Like I have this candy bar here because it reminds me of you want one. You want an exclusionary because it actually pays the bills. Like when it comes time for that. When I was at RV Wholesalers, I asked the guy that's in charge of service agreements. He kind of oversees the program. I asked him, like, show me a report. In fact, I have a report right here. Let me stop this. So I have this report, and this is a monthly report, and it comes out and it tells the dealership exactly how much money was received as a claim and that was paid out. And so you look down through here, you've got Greer Shop, Debbie, platinum coverage, paid out $1,000 for, let's see, what is it for? Anyways, it just lists all the different items, $2,400 to AC and ventilation. Anyway, I know that they're paying the claims because I see the reports, and every month there's just tons of these coming back across the desk, and those are primarily exclusionary through Protective. This is one company. You want to really do research on these companies. This is one that you see at a lot of dealerships because it's endorsed by the Dealers Association, RVDA, yeah. So that's just one of them. There's a number of them, but yeah, make sure you do some homework on who you're buying the service agreement with. Stated, not so good. Exclusionary, baddest is the best. Problem with stated sometimes is they charge the exclusionary price. These prices can be inflated, and that's where dealerships can make a lot of money, is inflate this price to be closer to the exclusionary. And so watch out for that. And only get what you need. I mean, if you're going to have a park model and you're just putting it there for a whole season, you don't even maybe need one of these service agreements. But yeah, so don't pay for what you don't need. But I would definitely look into that. One to watch out for, and then we're going to wrap up. There's one called what's the name? It's Warranty Forever or something like that. Lifetime warranty, something like that. If you see that one is a scam. I was at, where was I? In Kentucky someplace, at a big dealers only. It was only open for dealers, this show. And I was walking around, and one of the sales guys from this Warranty Forever group comes up to me. He's like, hey, you should think about this, adding this to your dealership. And he said, you'll love it. He said, you'll make about $900 every year off of your customers that have this program. And he explained it, and it was basically you get this lifetime coverage, but you have to take it in every year for service. So you get money for that, for the service. They, seal the roof, do some different things. But if you don't come in by this exact date, then the whole thing is null and void. So that forces folks to come in every single year, which even that alone is challenging to get into a lot of these dealerships because the waits are sometimes 13 to 18 weeks. So you have to be in there, otherwise void. And when they come in, he said, this is the best part, is you find other things wrong. So when they leave, on average, we're seeing $900 every year of extra money coming in for repair work. So yeah, I would run from that one. And then sometimes those dealerships that sell that as part of their package will ask you about buying one of these other ones on top of it. So like, well, if I just got a warranty forever, why do I need to buy another one? So anyways, crazy. I appreciate you guys taking time to learn all this stuff. It's a lot to cram into 1 hour, but we're excited to be able to have a little part in that. And man, I know you got value. If one really cool thing is we're wrapping up, I want to see like where you guys, like, what's your dream RV? Like, why do you want an RV? Like, tell me one of the dreams. Like, I want to go see, like, one of mine is I want to go see the Mount Rushmore. I want to see the president's head carved into stone. I think that would be really cool. I haven't got to take my family out there. So we were just camping last weekend at a campground in Ohio. That was awesome. Saw this kid catch this huge fish. So anyways, give me your little RV dream, what you guys want to do with RVs. That'll be fun. Do some shout outs. And I tell you what, Mitch doesn't know I'm going to do this, so he'll be surprised. But if you send Mitch an email, scroll back through chat, send Mitch an email, and make sure it's in here. If you send him an email, it has the word 500 in it. And let's see. I don't see his email. So let me get it. Actually, send it to me. I'll just send it over to him. So you just send it to me. I'll forward this on to him. Just my email is just innovationtim@gmail.com. Put that in here. So if you put in the subject 500 or in the body 500, the first 2 people that I get emails from that say that, what I'm going to do is tell Mitch, like, hey, give these guys $500 off their delivery if that you end up buying in the next day or 2. So I'll I know many of you probably aren't to that point yet, but if someone's really serious about getting into RV, he'll hook you up with a $500 discount off your delivery fee if you're out in Oregon or wherever you are. So I will forward that on to him. So thank you guys. I appreciate you taking time to listen. And we will send out a replay of this for you. So we have a show coming up at the end of the month, the 26th, virtualrvshow.com. Check that out. That's about 9 hours of more training like this, lots of other tips. We have a YouTube channel called RV Wholesalers. Just go to YouTube, type in RV Wholesalers, hit subscribe, and you'll get alerted of new videos and new educational pieces that we're putting together, different aspects as we learn more things. So, man, it's been fun. So, yeah, go ahead and type in some of your things you want to do. I say Flora wants to spend summers with her daughter and families in Washington. That'll be beautiful. Melina wants to park in the middle of New York, and Noon I'd love to live there. So very cool. We'll look forward to seeing you camping hopefully soon. So happy camping. Take care, guys.